10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. Though perhaps not too much thought has gone into the saying, nearer to church, the further from God. Else how explain the piety of monks and nuns? It nevertheless happens that a hermit on a faraway hilltop sees more clearly into your windows now and then than your next door neighbors. Such an explanation of these vagaries of reflected light might explain also why it is not the Denver newspapers that gave the best report of what scientist X had said to students of the University of Denver. That from the Scully book behind flying saucers. Welcome, Dr. Bill.
Hey,
as I butchered that intro.
butcher it.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going all right. It's been a slow, lazy week. How about you?
Same. Work.
Yeah,
Work, and do a little research. And you had sent me. I know we're going to talk about the book, but you had sent me more about the 2004 Nimitz. I think it was November 14th, 2004. The Tic Tac FA-18 Super Hornet, and the radar observation of the Tic Tac video, observation of the Tic Tac UFO. Some revelations from that. In fact, when you sent me that, I went, "Oh God, another Tic Tac."
More Tic Tac. We need more Tic Tac.
More Tic Tacs. But it wasn't. It was a new revelation from Trevor, the radar operator. What'd you think about that?
I thought it was real interesting. We were talking a little bit before, and the big thing was the video that he was brought up to look at after the event. We're in the command center, whatever it is, the radar control center. And where he said it looked like a UFO and not a Tic Tac, with the dome on the top and flat on the bottom.
Yeah, he was in the Combat Direction Center, and he kept reporting this from not the video from the gun camera, but from what he saw on his board, that this thing was flashing, and then it would move. It's in sectors like blocks, I think. It looks like squares.
Yep.
And it would flash from this sector, and then all of a sudden it would appear. It was almost like it would disappear and then reappear. It was so fast. It wouldn't show in the middle block.
Yeah, so he was supposed to, and he told his supervisor he was trying to tag it, and he couldn't tag it because it kept jumping in and out or moving around.
They ignored him, and they said, "Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Happens all the time." And that made me think of Elizondo's series that was on some channel. I watched those like last year, and he had the second series. He had I think it was called Phenomenon or something, and the last two episodes of the second season, they did what I call the classic UFO walk back, which is what a lot of shows did. And one of those shows was talking about the Nimitz, and they were talking to another guy, and the guy was talking about spoofing, radar spoofing, and electronic countermeasures. So that, which was weird because the previous season and the first 10 episodes of the second season were all UAPs are real, let's investigate the problem, and then they did 2-episode walk back for some reason. And this one is just this interview with Trevor is interesting because you could go, oh, he was just seeing spoofing, countermeasures. But then he talks about coming in and them showing them the video, which we've seen, I don't know what it is, like 10 seconds of video of all these things, and they got at least a half hour and multiple images of all this stuff, and they're not releasing it. And
he complained about it so much, they relieved him of duty and sent him to his quarters, and then called him back to show him the video. It was
Well,
bizarre.
no, he finished his shift, I think.
Oh, he said it was relieved.
Oh,
I just listened
well,
to it. He said he
relieved
was
is
relieved.
when you're relieved.
Well, and yeah, you're done with your shift.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
okay.
relieved. Yeah.
You're relieved to go the next. Yeah,
He wasn't.
relieved. He said relieved of. Well, Jeremy made it sound like he was relieved. He said you were relieved of command. Well, he's not in command.
Yeah.
But
He was relieved.
He didn't.
You
I don't
can't.
think Jeremy understands either that you're just relieved of your shift.
Yeah, you cannot leave your post until you are officially relieved.
Okay.
So he was relieved of his post, and told the other guy, and then the person that took over his station, I think that's the one that called him back to come up and look at the videos.
So said, "Dude, you got to come up and look at this."
look at. Yeah,
so he ran up there.
Yeah, and it's crazy. So yeah, he saw traditional UFOs. And I pulled out the UFO evidence from 1964 from NICAP, and I'll do a better picture of this. Let me find it. And this just shows commonly reported UFO types. And I'll do a better picture of this. But yeah, you can see all the standard dome shape with the flat bottom is most of these. And I'll see if I can get a better posting of that. But yeah.
And that was the interesting thing, though. I mean, I was like, yeah, another Tic Tac thing. But then he said, though, the gun camera video wasn't necessary. That wasn't, he saw that, but he says what he saw was a lot clearer and was, like you said, flat on the bottom and a dome on top. It wasn't a Tic Tac. Why? I mean,
why don't they show?
Was the Tic Tac doctor? I mean, we know whatever happened, but it was a Tic Tac doctored. So we wouldn't. Does the government think we're going to flip out if we see an actual flying saucer, if we make it look like a Tic Tac instead?
Well, at the end of that interview, who was the guy he interviewed? Was it Corbell? Jeremy Corbell. And he was talking about, or it might have been Chris Lato did a sort of a review.
He also did one of the same thing.
A review, and he was saying that they were dropping down from 80,000 feet. So the idea,
yes.
Can you hear that? There's a helicopter coming by. You can't hear it.
Okay. I can't hear it.
All right. Yeah, we had a helicopter flying around yesterday. Might be back. It was the sheriff's looking for something. We had a neighbor.
Did another neighbor disappear?
I hope not. We had a neighbor.
What's going on? What's going on in your neighborhood?
Something strange. We had a neighbor disappear. He had health issues and he went for a walk and he never came back.
Did they ever find him?
No.
Good old Florida.
Oh, they had
gators.
They had like 20 sheriffs beating the bushes, and they had a drone flying around. They had a helicopter, and they didn't find him. I think something shady was going on, but the cops, they're not in-depth investigators. So I gotta.
They're not some CSI.
No, I talked briefly to one of the detectives because there's all this activity, and I went over there to see what was going on, and they think the guy just wandered off. But I'd seen this other guy sort of hanging out at this guy's house that was furtive. He was furtive. And I think there's more to this guy's disappearance than, him just wandering off into the woods. But
he was furtive? What's that mean?
He was weird when, yes, furtive. His name was Mr. Furtive. It's like our neighborhood is sort of small and it's private roads, so you can go for a walk around the neighborhood and there's no traffic. And this guy was parked at the guy's house a couple times. And when he would see you, he would sort of get like embarrassed. Like, oh, and I don't know what it is, but then he would sort of like, he'd get nervous. All right, that's probably a better explanation. He'd get nervous when you it's like, okay. So I don't know. I think, and he looked shady, but that's a bad description. He may have not been shady, but
I like furtive. That's a good description.
Yeah, well, the guy just got nervous when I saw him a couple times, and he was like really nervous at this guy's house. So I think there's something more going on with that disappearance than the guy just wandering off. So yeah, but I'm not a cop. We could turn this show into a true crime show. Investigate the disappearance in Florida.
And do that thing. Dun, dun, dun.
So we were talking
Skinwalker's coming. Wait, I have to say Skinwalker's coming back. I think in a week or two, right?
The show.
Everybody, make sure you check Skinwalker. The mystery. You know what the real mystery of Skinwalker Ranch is? This bullshit.
Yeah, you got to make that money back on the purchase. Hey, there was
they're saying, podcast just jealous because they're making money.
They're doing fantastic. There's that meeting that's coming up, and there's the other show that is up in the Utah region of up in that area, and it's the Blind Frog Ranch show. I watched all those episodes, and that's
how was that? I can't get myself to watch it.
They're they got a good story, but they seem to want to throw in a lot of theatrics that aren't true to life. So they find some coins, and it's just there's too much. They do too much stuff to try and sort of engage people in the treasure hunting things, and it doesn't look real. It doesn't look real. And they have an interesting property with an interesting history, and they could really sell it a lot better if they were just more straightforward and more organized in their storytelling. But otherwise, it's like they found a wooden crib in a underwater cave that's 500 years old, and they pull some rocks out, and it's got this metal galantia or something in it that's liquid at room temperature. That's a byproduct of making aluminum or something. And it's just like, come on, guys. The problem is that they have thrown in so much theatrics. Like they found a bunch of old Mormon coins, but they weren't real. And if they were real, they would have been worth $1 million. And they found a tiny gold speck, which was plausible, but then they also found a doubloon with it, and it's like, come on. But they never authenticated the doubloon. They had like some guy acting out weird on one of their game cameras, and then they had maybe a theft that may have been a real theft or not. So they I think they could have a compelling and interesting story on their property, but they're doing it wrong. And what do I know? And they're
where are they? Where is this place? Where
Utah.
is Blind Frog? Right? Is it by the Utah Ranch?
Yeah, it's up near. It's not too far from Skinwalker. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, they got it has potential, but they're doing too much theatrics. They're trying to make it too interesting, and what they have, it could be very interesting. They just don't know how to portray it, and then they're sort of pushing the story with gimmicks. Like, we found a doubloon. We found a bunch of Mormon gold, but it's fake gold. So, come on. It's like Oak Island, where they, they discover, Captain Kidd's treasure on Oak Island after, like, they're in the first season or second season or something. Like, all of a sudden, we discover it's Captain Kidd's treasure. And where is it? It's right here. I got a book here that I knew this story. I knew this story since I was a kid. It's like, how could you not know this? And I got a book on Captain Kidd, which talks about this island, that island, and his treasure. So, come on.
How old's that book? Looks pretty. It looks like.
This guy who wrote this also wrote UFO books in the 50s, 1937. Thick.
Did it have a plastic cover on it when you got it?
Yeah, that I tore off and
threw away.
Yeah. It's 1937.
A picture of Captain Kidd on it.
Oh. It's got his chest. It's got his chest, which they actually found a treasure map in. So
Wow.
yeah, that's a
So
great.
they've had a treasure map. So was their treasure? Did X mark the spot?
I don't know. I don't know. But the guy that
So what happened?
I
So
don't
they had
know.
a treasure map
I
and
haven't finished reading the book. I don't know what the story is.
skip
But
ahead.
but
We
they
want to know
yeah,
what
skip
happened.
ahead. They have here's Captain Kidd. Here's a picture of Captain Kidd. So
He's a handsome devil.
he is. They
I
hung
like the
him.
hair. Is
They
that
hung
real?
him. Yeah.
They hung him.
They hung him at the dock in England for piracy. So
That's convenient. Then they just cut the line, let him fall in the ocean.
yeah.
Or to
No,
get
I think
buried. He may have been buried.
at that time I think they just let you hang out for a while. Yeah. It's
That's
pretty very, very pleasant.
we've come a long way, haven't we?
Yeah, maybe. These days it's hard to
So
tell.
so Skull, okay, so that was a revelation, I think, about the 2004. There isn't a whole lot more to it, although it was something new. I don't know why this all of a sudden came about, or why, or but it was that it's it looks like a flying saucer, and it went under the water too, that
Oh
they
yeah. Yeah.
observed.
Yeah.
And as we talked about last week, when during the Roswell episode with Robert, and Robert will be here. Robert was coming in. We may have an actual Robert in the studio,
Robert
maybe
in the
for the
studio.
next episode.
That would be awesome.
We'll have to find out. I know he really wants to do simulation theory. We may have to make a jump to that real quick. And I know there's so
well,
much to that.
Well, I would like to
you know.
read or finish reading Kurzweil's book.
All right.
So
maybe we can do it anytime.
If he's around, maybe I'll just jump into it and read it this week real quick. I could manage that if I'm dedicated.
Well, that'll be one of us that knows what's going on, because all we know is the concept. Because I'm never going to get to it.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I'll do a quick read on it. It's a thick book, but I think these books have too many words, but it should be okay. One of the things that came out of that interview with Trevor was Chris Lato talked about these craft doing these huge G maneuvers, right? And he found an article, and I want to give full credit to Chris Lato, called Estimating Flight Characteristics of Anomalous Unidentified Aerial Vehicles. And I want to talk about this paper more in the future. And this was published in Entropy, which is a real peer-reviewed scientific magazine, in 2019. Published 25 September 2019. And what they did is that they did an analysis of UAP's maneuvering characteristics and then calculated a number of Gs. And they talk about the Japan Airlines Flight 1628. And there's all these formulas. Here, I'll show here's the paper, if you can see it. And it's got all these.
Right. I have to tell you, I tried reading that. My eyes kind of glazed over.
Nah,
it's not. To go down. But as you go down, though, it is interesting about the G's, how they talk about the G-force that would have to be applied based on the maneuvers that, this thing was doing.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, when you read these things, you just skip the equations. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not going to try to read the equations, but there's a
there.
narrative below. There's a narrative below that explains everything.
And they got the Nimitz encounter, and then they got Senior Chief Operations Specialist Kevin Day, who was interviewed in a bunch of shows, was on the USS Princeton. This is a real interesting article. But what did they talk about? They did minimum acceleration is between 3 and 10,000 Gs. And
that would liquefy a human.
Yeah, more than liquefy a human. And interestingly enough, Chris Lato said that humans can take 9 Gs and the aircraft can take 15 Gs. So, but one of the things I spotted in this paper was real interesting, and I'm going to talk about that, if it's in here. Oh, it is in here. So at the very end, they have a table on distance and travel times to various star systems for each blah, blah, blah. And what it is if you travel, I have another paper on this somewhere up here. If you travel to another star system and your ship that you're traveling in can go 100 Gs, constant acceleration. At 100 Gs, hang on, let me. So if you look at this chart, it's table 3 in the paper, and you don't have to look at it. I'll put an image up. Let me mark it with this.
All right.
And
everybody got that?
Yes, everyone got that.
You can freeze it if you need to read it.
Well, I'll put it up. I'll take a photo and put it embed
Work it in.
Yeah. So for those who are looking at the video. So Proxima Centauri is 4.37 light years away. And if you travel at 100 G's acceleration, and that means if you go at 100 G's acceleration halfway, and then I'm assuming you have to turn around, and then 100 G gravity's deceleration, the other, backwards to slow down and stop. They put it at travel time to Proxima Centauri. Now, there's two different things. Because of relativity, the closer you go to the speed of light, the slower time moves for the person in the spaceship. So on the spaceship time, at 100 Gs to Proxima Centauri, it takes 43.3 days. The actual travel time is 4.389 years. So on Earth, 4 years will go by, but on the ship, 43 days would only go by. This is like Star Trek travel times, except for the time dilation, which they never incorporated into.
They never did anything about that.
Which is interesting because if you think about it, this is going to be an interesting sort of dilemma for interstellar travel, because whenever you go anywhere, it's a years long journey. So you go to a planet. Maybe that's why we see so many supposedly, unidentified craft. You go to a planet, if you want to go home and talk about what you've seen, just to Proxima Centauri, it's taken 4 years. So you come here, you hang out for a few days, or a week or a month, and then you fly back. It's 10 years. But so to Tau Ceti, which is 11.9 light years, at 100 Gs, it's only 50 days travel, and then, of course, 11.9. And then to Jalise 667c, 25 light years is 53 days. And then TRAPPIST-1, 39 light years is 58 days. So if these craft are capable of maintaining these speeds at these gravities, I mean, this basically means that the universe is available for exploration. Although for the explorers, they will be gone for decades, maybe hundreds of years, which is an interesting sort of dilemma. So at
nice concept.
Yeah, so they average. Yeah, it is. They averaged. So they were saying that the Tic Tac could do, or whatever. Although we'll figure it out. 5,000 Gs was the average. At 5,000 Gs to Proxima Centauri, you would travel ship time. It would take you a day and a half. To Tau Ceti, a day and a half. To Jalise 667, a day and a half. TRAPPIST-1, 1.7 days. So, anyway, I thought that was interesting. Chris Lato talked about the 5,000 Gs, but I think the real take-home from this paper is if you have craft that can maintain these accelerations, it basically means the universe is open for exploration and discovery. Although for your home planet, you're going to be gone for decades. So, hey, cool stuff.
And come home see your grandchildren.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically, everything any sort of explorers that do this thing, if this technology is achievable or available, any explorer is gone. Oh, it's like at the end of you give up on any of your you'll be seeing your great grandchildren when you come back. So you basically have to give up on everything you've ever known or knew or whatever. And every time you come back, things are going to be hugely different.
Is this a theory or is this like proven fact the way this works?
Theoretically, this is falls within the realm of physics. The difficulty is maintaining. Well, you need to have a craft that can travel at a constant 100 G's acceleration without pancaking everything inside.
Yeah.
And the speculation from this paper is that from their analysis of these sightings, these craft can achieve accelerations of this level. If you can maintain that acceleration, and look at this to just the extreme case, if you can maintain a 500 G acceleration for a day, you're in Proxima Centauri. So it's within the theoretical realm of physics, and it doesn't violate physics. Hang on. Where you run into problems is the energies involved. It's like, where do you get the energy to run a ship at this level? What are you doing to protect how do you protect the crew? That's the question. And one of the things, I don't know anything about 0-point energy, but I think one of the possibilities is I actually read a book on 0-point energy and really didn't get much out of it. That's the most I know about 0-point energy is from the Incredibles cartoon, the first movie, where the guy is talking about it. So, yeah, it suggests that if this technology is achievable, the universe is open, just like in Star Trek.
Yeah, the Lazar story, he was stating that somehow in front of the craft, your inside is not affected by that G-force because they do something in front of the craft that actually sucks them forward. For lack of a better term, it sucks them forward without affecting without having any G's inside the craft itself. So I don't know what that's all about.
If you're warping space, which in order to warp space, you have to manipulate gravity. If you're warping space, you could create, theoretically, they talk about these papers, which I don't know a lot about, where they talk about warp drives and warping space. And so there are theoretical papers that begin to address this. You would create a warp bubble, just like,
yeah.
So
there you go.
Yeah. So with that, whatever you're inside, you'd be in this distorted space. So whatever's happening outside this space doesn't affect the interior. So that's the theoretical model for these systems. But I thought this, just looking at this paper, I thought this, I'll go through it in greater detail, and maybe we'll talk about this in the future. These accelerations and travel times are amazing. Basically means that if this technology is achievable, the universe is open. Although, like I said, you send a ship out to do exploring, they're going to be gone for decades or hundreds of years. And there's always the possibility that you do this travel and then you come back and it's like Planet of the Apes. Everything has changed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that would be a good. Well, actually, Planet of the Apes is really good.
Great.
That's a good example of what could happen.
Yeah,
you come back and nuke, and Russia has dropped the bomb and started thermal nuke. Are you excited? By the way, Putin's talking about nukes. Are you starting to get excited there, Bill?
Yeah,
Might happen.
Do it. Just get it over with. I think our government is really determined to force Russia into World War III. There's a Russian news site that I look at and then use Google Translate to read the article. It's just updates on the Ukraine war, and it's terrible. I need to, if I want to get serious, I don't even know what places they're talking about because I can't. The map is in acrylic and the translation is in English, and it's like I have no idea where these places are that the translation is talking about. But the last one that I just read, this is a Russian news site. It says flat out that Russia is, because of the things that are happening. This news site says Russia is at war with NATO. It's right now it's a proxy war, but it says that Russia's at war with NATO. Yeah, I think I don't know what's going on. They're pushing. I feel that our government is pushing for nuclear war. They want nuclear war with Russia, and I'm not really sure why.
Wasn't Afghanistan a proxy war with NATO too? I mean,
well, NATO was in there supposedly, but it was like 99% us and like one soldier from 5 different countries hanging out at their whatever.
There's going to be some people that disagree. I'll be waiting for the comments.
I don't disagree on what that Russia's at war with
that,
NATO.
that they didn't have more people.
Oh,
from
they
NATO
had
in
they
there.
had more, but I don't know. Afghanistan was just
1%. Yeah,
it's just crazy. The there was that one guy, McGregor, that talks about this stuff, and he was talking about the prevailing winds over Europe. I'm taking a look at the prevailing winds over Europe. If there was a nuclear war, it all blows back on Russia. Let me see. Wind speeds. Now would be a good time to nuke.
you heard it here first. Hey,
so I'm looking
what's
at
the difference?
the wind.
Now, you may know
the winds
you
are
may know this.
very calm
Excuse me, real quick.
Oh yeah.
Tactical thermonuclear bomb versus the devastating other kind, whatever it's called, ballistic or whatever. What's the difference? I mean, a tactical thermal. I had this discussion with a guy at work, and we don't know that. We could have looked it up, I guess. But
the only thing I know, a tactical is a small nuke.
Right. So what's the difference in the yield between that and something uglier?
I don't know. A tactical nuke would be something that you would fire out of a cannon or a small, maybe a cruise missile.
Or maybe this is what he's talking about when he says he's going to use nukes. Maybe he's not. We always jump to it's going to be the giant, the nation killer,
the city buster, the intercontinental ballistic missiles with the. No, I think he's talking about using. He's threatening the use of tactical nukes if NATO really jumps up their game, and I don't doubt he'll do it. If these countries decide to like roll, 10,000 tanks into the Ukraine to push on Russia, Putin will just drop, a handful of tactical nukes on him. He'll solve that problem easily. Yeah.
And hopefully that won't destroy the whole region, including his own. I don't know.
Supposedly the prevailing winds will drive the fallout into Russia, but I'm looking at 1,000 meters. The winds are going south, so today is a good day for that. Let's see, 2,000 meters. No, it's the prevailing winds are very favorable for a nuclear strike on Eastern Europe by Russia. So
then doesn't it blow back on them?
No, the winds are really calm now. This is crazy. The winds are really calm. And they're mostly southern, so today is a good day for nuclear Armageddon in Europe.
So what's the over-under? What's the over-under, Bill?
The over-under, I don't know. This is just insanity. I mean, I've stopped watching most of my favorite news things because some of these guys have just gone nuts with let's go to complete war with Russia, and I don't even understand why. I don't get it. I'm sorry.
I don't understand what they're doing. I mean, it's like I don't know what you hope to. I don't know. I don't understand either. It's bizarre. This guy's completely insane, and everybody's following along like he's doing the right thing.
Well, and there's no negotiations going on. I mean, you think that there'd be ongoing. Nobody's talking to anybody anymore, so it's just like, I don't know. Good times.
Well, it's not going to be anything left. They just keep blowing stuff up, and we keep now. I heard Poland or somebody's going to send 200 tanks in there, or something. They're not going to man them, but they're delivering. We're going to deliver, distribute some tanks. In there.
I was reading an article about a guy that used to be a tanker, and he said to operate. He was a gunner, the cannon. He was the gunner for the cannon on the tanker. He said his training was 6 months. So if Poland is sending 100 tanks, I mean, they got to train crews for these things. So it's crazy to I think they're probably the old, and one of the things they're doing is to keep sending older equipment. So they'll send this, I think they're T-72s, and then you got to train.
Russia? There's Russia?
They're Russian tanks. I think they're Russian tanks. So
they got to get rid of them somehow.
That's basically what I think they're doing.
Dispose of their shit. Basically, the only reason we're starting this war is so we can dispose of our old shit on you.
They're giving it to the Ukraine, and then the U.S. is giving Poland brand new tanks. I think that's the way it works. Well, and then the U.S. The U.S. is doing Lend-Lease, where we can just give them stuff, except for nuclear weapons. Mm-hmm. Everything is on the table except nuclear weapons. We can give them an aircraft carrier if they want it. The problem is that you have to train crews for these things. This guy that wrote this article, Germany sent these outdated anti-aircraft tanks, and they're not really tanks. They're anti-aircraft guns on a tread tank body or something. And this guy that wrote the article said training for those things to train the gunner. He was talking about the technical stuff of these things. They're sending like 18 of them. They've been or whatever. They're in storage. They've been in storage in Germany for who knows how long. And Germany's just getting rid of them. And he's like, to train. He was familiar with the training regime for these things. He says to train the gunner on one of these things, to train them to a level of competence, he says takes a year.
Yeah. Can't be that complicated. What do you think? Does it really take a year?
Well, he says they're for low flying aircraft and drones, and it's got 2 or 3 radars on it, and it's got all this other things. He says you have to learn how to switch the radars, or you're going to get targeted, and all this other stuff. It may not take a year. You can probably spin somebody up in a day. But that's
what I'm thinking.
And then Switzerland said that Switzerland makes the ammo for these things, and Switzerland said we're not going to give you any ammo for these, so we're not going to sell you.
Good. They're not NATO, are they?
No, they're
not NATO then.
They're supposed to be neutral.
Well, that's probably why they're not giving it up. We're not going to get involved in that. I thought they wanted to be neutral. They wanted to be NATO all of a sudden, I heard.
You
know what? We're right on the cusp of Russia, trying to run us over like they did Ukraine. I want to be NATO too.
Well, the thing about Switzerland is everything. They're a very democratic society, and everything goes up for vote. They vote monthly on stuff, so it's like so any sort of decision that happens at that scale will have to occur through a nationwide referendum, and so things move quickly and slowly in Switzerland as with things like that. So anyway,
so Russia starts to advance on Switzerland. They're going to run that up to the vote real quick, whether or not to be NATO or not.
Oh yeah. Oh, they run. It would happen. It would happen quickly. So I don't know.
Yes. Oh, that was overwhelming.
Yeah. But yeah, it would go to a vote. It would have to go to a vote. It's crazy stuff. I've been trying to ignore it. Like I said, I stopped even listening to some of the news people that I like to listen to because it's just I don't get it. I don't want to hear it.
They're not giving us anything. I mean, I was watching CNN every day, and now you turn it on. First of all, CNN has like an hour's worth of commercials
Yeah.
all the time. It's incredible. I say, Debbie's like,
It's
holy
insane.
crap.
It's
They
absolutely
go to
insane.
commercial, and you might as
Let's
well
go to
change the channel.
let's go to commercial.
Um,
Yeah.
and we'll be back in a minute.
Back in
And
5 to 15 minutes.
5,
Just hang on.
10, 15, yeah. And they don't tell you. I mean, at first they were doing real, they had combat correspondence, and I think after the first one got blown up, they kind of were like, I don't know if we really want any. Plus, I mean, I think it's a bad idea to put on TV exactly what you're doing. I've always not been a fan of that.
Oh, for
And
military stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
yeah, and they were in the beginning. They were in that. What the hell was it? It was a hospital, or they were hiding out in this theater. It was in a theater.
yeah.
And
At Maripol.
they were on Tic Tac, and they were on all this shit. And I was watching it, and I looked at Deb, and I went, how brilliant is that? Everybody can see this. And the next day they blew it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Have we learned anything? So maybe that's, and I'm cool. I don't need to see anything about what's going on, because I don't want that information to be used to kill some people, or a group of people.
Well, that's why I look at the Russian site, which just gives it's like a 2-paragraph update, and it just says things like
What do they say, comrade?
They say there's artillery is being used against this city and fortifications, and they said 1,000 Ukraine soldiers had surrendered at this one location. Yeah, I'm remembering from when I read it last night. They said 2 British SAS soldiers had been captured doing reconnaissance somewhere, and apparently they had the Russian news was saying that they had been their location and stuff had been leaked out of Kiev, and
Oh wow.
yeah, so I mean, just little bits, and then they talk about no movement here, and there's some bombings, so missile attacks here, just general. It looks like sort of like World
Yeah.
War II type reporting. It's that if you go back and look at old things, there's artillery was used against this thing. Not a lot of detail, but more detail than you get out of our news. And it's just little tidbits of what's happening on, here and there, but nothing that could, I guess, harm the overall big picture.
Like you said, a lot of it's propaganda on both sides. Who knows what's real?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Hey, we had the library book sale here this last week. And this is our book corner, and I got some books for you. You have some of these books. I'm going to send them to you. Just give them to whoever. Give them to Robert. Give them to the MUFON group if you ever go to a meeting.
Well, what do you got?
Well, this one isn't a UFO book. This was in the mystery section. It's called Scats and Tracks of the Rocky Mountains. Do you want this?
Yes. Is it about Bigfoot?
No, it's about different animals.
Isn't that poo?
Yeah. It's like different animals and stuff. But it was in the mystery section. I'm like, what is this doing? And it was $25. So
I had to have it.
yeah, you might like it because it's in the. Oh, it's actually pretty cool. Look at all that poo.
Yeah.
I thought you might like it because
Yeah.
Rocky, these animals will be more close to what you have out where you are than I am.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be more relevant for here. This book is remember this. We've talked about the Scholastic book service, and this book is Something Out There. But I found this in the science fiction section. Is Something Up There by Dale White, and it's a Scholastic book like we would buy when we were in school, and it's a UFO debunking book, 1969. So I thought that was cool. It talks about NICAP, talks about the Air Force position. I read a little bit of it, and the author goes, he basically goes, I don't believe in UFOs. This author doesn't believe in UFOs, but I thought it was sort of fun, as compared to other books that we used to get when we were there. I don't know. I got my favorite book was The Mad Scientist Club, which is everything is backwards.
Oh yeah.
And then this
Oh, yeah.
book, which I think you had a copy too, which is
Oh yeah.
strangely enough.
I had that when I was so young. That
Yeah.
actually came out. I got that at school
Yeah.
when we had that. That's Scholastic. Was that the way we ordered?
Yeah. We probably were in the same grade together when we got this. 1971. So was when this was. So we were in grade school.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got a book. This book is definitely you don't have, I think. No, you have the UFO Experience by John Allen Hynek, which is a really good book.
Yes.
Give it to Robert if he wants it. I sent you Jacques Vallée's Confrontations last time. Give this one away. You don't have this one. I have this. It looks real interesting. It's the UFO Casebook. So,
Oh, wow.
And then you have Gold of the Gods by Eric von Daniken, but I'll send you another. I'll send you another copy.
I don't know if I have Gold of the Gods. I've got Chariots of the Gods. Do I have Gold?
It's up there. It's up there. You sent me a picture. I went and reviewed.
Okay, I'm glad you know what.
But I'll send it to you anyways. If you don't have it or can't find it, you got another copy. So I'll send you these. I'll send you the Scats and Tracks book.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, and order the Contact from Reticulum book. Reticulum. So
have you read any of that?
I read a little bit of it.
The pictures.
The pictures are awesome. It's got color photos in it too. It was $5 on eBay. And I showed you. It's got great pictures. Isn't that cool? And drawings and stuff.
Amazing.
It's going to be worth it for the drawings. There's another one. Hey, look at that.
Wow.
So. All right, where are we? We are.
Let's talk about. We need to. For this segment, let's talk about behind the flying saucers.
Yeah. All right. So. What do you got? You start off. And you talk about what you have.
Okay. So the mystery. First of all, the mystery. Did they determine what the speaker? I'm like going through this, and I got lost. Did they ever?
Yeah. I figured
did we figure out who the speaker is? He's in Denver. He's made a 50-minute speech about these flying saucers and this flying saucer experience, and he wrote it on the chalkboard, and then later on it's shown that it isn't shown, but they actually sprayed lacquer over this. Did you read that part?
Yeah.
They sprayed lacquer and allegedly.
Yeah.
And so it's somewhere about what he wrote down, but who was, anyways, to a bunch of students who were, scientific, whatever majors in Denver. And first of all, there was 3 flying discs.
Yep. Which is, and they mentioned Aztec, New Mexico for the first time.
Well, something I calculated, and they said 2 years before the first saucer was discovered, about 500 miles from Denver, which, it's about 500 miles from Denver?
What?
Aztec.
Yeah.
I did it on my phone.
But they mentioned Aztec in here. I actually saw that. I didn't mark it.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know if I went that. I don't know if I've got.
It's early on, and it's just like I was reading it. It might even be in the first chapter, but I was looking in there, and he mentions Aztec, New Mexico. I was doing
a. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I'll find it. I'll mark it next time I see it. I'll go through it again.
He mentioned the 4. That was anyway, what I mentioned was the first one, which appeared to be Aztec.
Yeah.
And the 4th one, which was after these 3, was at a government proving grounds, right by a government which I think is out Los Alamos, maybe, in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, that's possible. I mean, I don't know of another government proving grounds in that vicinity.
Well, we talked about. Go on.
White Sands, I guess, could be. But they found. 34. The first saucer had 34, and it wasn't little green men. It was small, humanoid, like between 34 and 40 inches high. Men, they were dead. First saucer had 16. The first two saucers had, the first one was 99.9 feet across. Second one was 72 feet across. They both had 16 men, each dead. Government picked up those saucers. The third one was 36 feet across. It had two men, again, humanoid, that were it looks like they died, but they opened the hatch and they were trying to get out and get to the ground. But it was just phenomenal. I mean, it's, so who was this guy? Why did we're probably going to get to that part later on, but did he all of a sudden just shows up at this and gathers these people at this university and starts talking about this stuff? Do we know the motivation or why?
I don't know.
All?
So one of the things that happened is this book came out and they came out and they said it was a hoax, and the guys that were involved in it were con men. But the guy that wrote this book, Scully, has always stood by whatever he's written. And he's also apparently he's written more about this in a later book that he published about his life, I think, in 1963, which there's only one copy available. I'm going to try and get it from the library, interlibrary loan. And so Scully always stood by what he wrote. True Magazine actually is a reporter from, I think he was a New York Times reporter, which always brings everything into question. True Magazine published an article in September 1952, The Flying Saucers and the Mysterious Little Men, which is, debunking this. And then they followed up 4 years later with an article, Flying Saucer Swindlers, talking about these guys. But as always with a lot of UFO stuff, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, confusion, conspiracy theories. There seems to have always been like sort of con men and hoaxsters involved in this stuff. And what's I've come across recently, and we just came across, was that we talked about it a few episodes ago, where that guy, his website is no longer active, but it was chuckwadeufo.com. You could probably pull it up on the Wayback Machine. And he talked about 7 crash sites for UFOs, 1945 to 1948. He said there was one in San Antonio, the Barney Barnett site, alternative site, a Haute Corso site, which I think has been written, Corona, Debris Field, and the Jim Ragsdale site, and then the Aztec site. So we've gone from, at least in our understanding as we've been progressing through this, we've gone from one crash, maybe 2 at Roswell, which was confusing because we've only talked about and looked at the first Roswell book, to now there's 7 sites. These guys are supposed to be con men, but we'll talk about their articles as we move forward through this stuff after we get through the Scully book. So basically, we don't know what is true. We don't know what is false. So I can tell you who Mr. X is because I was doing some online research, and you can find it there. And Mr. X is Silas Newton. And that was the guy that gave the talk at the University of Denver. And Silas
Silas Newton. Okay.
So
you're supposed to do this when you do it.
Dun dun dun. Oh, do one of those shocked faces. What do they call that? I forget.
Silas Newton.
Silas Newton. Yeah. I don't know who he is. But we'll walk through that, and that's the whole idea behind getting the UFO crash at Aztec book, is because this apparently. So here, I just randomly opened the book the Aztec crash at um, the UFO crash at Aztec, and it randomly opened when I just did this, which means that whoever had this book before spent some time at this section of the book. It says Chapter 8, A Major Breakthrough. Scully was right. So,
Oh, no way.
yeah, I'll put that.
Oh, wow.
So,
what's that redact? What's that document?
I don't know.
Is that a government document with some redaction on it?
Oh, it's about a downgraded copy of the APP0324 Twix identifying MJ12 on line 14.
Okay, the Majestic 12.
Yeah. This book apparently. So here we've gone. Oh, I'm damaging the plastic cover. Oh God.
No, you
There.
just throw it away now.
No,
I don't want you to have one that's more valuable than me.
No, mine is. Yours is actually numbered. Mine doesn't have a number in it. Mine just says yours has 3 of 1,000. Mine has no number.
I made that up.
You made it up. Well, you can always draw it in later.
I lied.
So anyway,
3 of 1,000.
3 of 1,000. So we have a ways to go, and I think it all centers around the Roswell area and the mystery of the crashes around that. And I think we can spend some time with that. But it starts with the Scully book. So you're going from that where they're saying it's a hoax to present day where where the government is actively engaged in UFO research. Harvard's engaged, and other people. There's independent groups that are trying to get some evidence behind this. And the possibility is that if we can obtain this technology, that it opens up the universe. And you can also you can speculate that the universe may already be open. We just don't, we don't know. We don't know.
I don't. Where'd they put the stuff? Well, I know it's in Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, but it's like we talked about last week. The people are dead that have even scooped this stuff up. You can't even talk to anybody about it. So it's in a warehouse. If it's happened, we assume it has, but it's in a warehouse. It's in a bunch of crates in like Forever Young. Did you watch Forever Young with Mel Gibson? By the way,
I hated it.
Did you really? Oh, it's for kids. I know it's a kid's show.
I like
the concept.
I like the concept too. I've become a big movie
snob.
Movie snob. Yeah.
Movie snob.
I just started. I tried to watch Congo because when I was at the book sale, I picked up Congo.
Oh yeah, that sucked too.
Oh my God, it's just like the book is great, and then it's
I read the book. You made me. Yeah, you turned me onto the book. The book was awesome. Then I watched the movie and went, boy, they completely screwed this up.
What are they doing? It's like, this was years ago. This is 95, and they did the movie. But it's like, how can you ruin something? And this is the. So Steven Spielberg did Jurassic. Yeah, we're really diverging. Steven Spielberg did Jurassic Park, 93 or something like that. And Kathleen Kennedy, who was his assistant, she went independent and made this movie Congo. So she's trying to build on sort of the momentum behind Jurassic Park. The book's a great book to do that with, and just completely. I mean, the writing in the very beginning. I lasted like 10 minutes. And the best part was Bruce Campbell in the very beginning screaming just before the gorillas kill him.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm looking at the casting and I'm going, they should have just put Bruce Campbell. They had Tim Curry and Bruce Campbell in it. They should have put Bruce Campbell in a major role and had him played off against Tim Curry. It would have been awesome. And let them chew the scenery, as they say in the theater. And they would have made at least made a movie that had a cult following. Oh my God!
I got another one for you.
What's that?
Sphere,
or Spear?
Sphere, like this circle with Dustin Hoffman with the ship.
Oh yeah.
As a spoiler alert, ship comes back from the future and land. Well, they find it. They found it on the bottom of the ocean. I don't know if it just landed or it's been there for eons. They find this thing.
I saw it years ago. I don't remember the plot. I'll check it out. I'll
Yeah,
probably.
you'll probably hate it.
God. Yeah, I've just become a
It's
bad.
again good concept. I mean, I was disappointed. I'm always disappointed when they go inside these things and it's something different. I don't know.
Well,
Did you see Event Horizon where you go in and it was weird
yeah.
too?
That was just like a
Where it
weird.
went to the edge of a black hole and all of a sudden it was like they're in hell or something.
Yeah,
like
it was
that.
yeah. It's because these people have no imagination. The Abyss. What about the Abyss?
Really?
Have you
Yeah. I did like the Abyss
Yeah,
though. I
yeah.
did
I
kind of
like
like the
that
Abyss.
too. I thought that was decent. I think the
Did you
Sphere and the Abyss were
did you
sort of
see the
similar.
sequel of Abyss? Did you
There's
see
a
the
sequel to the Abyss.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
even know
Son
that.
of
Son of
Abyss.
Son of Abyss.
Sorry, old bad joke. Okay, so
All right. So in the future, we're going to continue plugging away at Scully. We'll look at the
yeah,
articles that talk about
we're gonna have to keep it light with this Scully thing because my sister really doesn't like it when we do these book things.
where there's a lot to talk about. I mean, what are we going to talk about?
Well, no, it's good. The way we did it today is good. Make sure we hit the highlights, some fun stuff,
Oh,
flying
yeah.
saucers, aliens, and we're doing it a lot better than we were before. Where it's almost like verbatim.
Yeah.
You know, so this is
Hey,
a much better. We're
climbing-
reading it basically. Yeah,
We're climbing
people
the
are
learning.
falling asleep. People are driving, listening, and falling asleep at the same time.
I mean, we can causing accidents on the highway.
They're causing accidents, but this is much better.
So yeah,
So
I think it's worth looking into. The I mean, we've gone from one crash at Roswell to potentially 7, and
Yeah.
some really crazy stuff happening out there, just like in these TV shows, I guess, which I haven't watched.
I'm not doing the blind frog ranch thing. I don't know if I can do it. You're gonna have to give me a synopsis.
I did.
Is it?
I'm done.
It's still active. Is
They're
it still
doing. I
active?
think they're doing another season. I think they have great potential to tell a great story, and they're doing a bad job because they're putting too much theater into it, and they need to put more thought. But they have an interesting piece of property with some interesting historical stuff, and they're just trying to fit in whatever. And I don't know what's true and what they're making up as they go along. That's the problem.
There was a new Oak Island mystery episode, though. Did you catch that?
Watching that. Oak Island is a 500-year-old silver mine that was dug and then abandoned, and the original treasure was found and Captain Kidd's treasure was found and taken from Oak Island. And Oak Island is just a historical, interesting place, but any treasure is gone, has been found, and they've been screwing around. The money pit is just an old silver mine that was abandoned 500 years ago, and people are just like beating this to death for $1. So
it's still a money pit. They just keep dumping money into it. Although they're making money by people watching it.
They're making money off the show.
It's a money pit.
Yeah.
It's a money pit, all right.
But the mystery, there's no mystery. It's like Skinwalker Ranch. There's no real mystery. Oh, God, we're really party poopers here. Oak Island, there's no
Skinwalker though. No, we will be watching the new Skinwalker. We'll be discussing.
I don't know if I can do that.
May 15th or something like that.
So you can watch it and talk about it. It was so painful.
I'll bring Debbie in. She hates it too.
Good.
I'd make her watch it with me.
Excellent.
She watched the Oak Island. This is bullshit. That's bullshit.
They're just taking advantage. I mean, everybody loves a mystery. Everybody loves a treasure hunt. That's the problem with Blind Frog Ranch is they have a genuine mystery. They have genuine treasure hunt potential on their land, and they're playing these theatrical games. It's like, just cut it out. Just do your research. Be genuine. You're going to have 10 times the audience, and it'll be more interesting and more fascinating. Quit playing theatrical games because you think that's what people want. They don't. People are not that stupid.
Well, the show would only be 10 minutes long if you just did the real stuff.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, I can see it in their episodes. There's plenty of stuff to move forward with. There's archaeological stuff that's fascinating. The geologist, they have this geologist that works with them. The guy's great. the geologist, his enthusiasm about the geology and exploring, and so the technical stuff that they do is great, but then they got to throw in some sort of theatrical crap, and it's just it stinks. It doesn't look realistic. There's ways to do that. They just need to take a step back and reevaluate and do a good job. That's all you need to do. And listen to me.
Awesome.
Listen to me. Yeah.
We will, but I'm not watching it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's it.
All right. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook. Check out our website, alienprobe.net. All of our episodes are on there. We're on all podcast platforms. You can see us anywhere from Spotify to Apple, everywhere. Check us on Twitter and Instagram at Alien Probe Pod. See us on YouTube at Alien Probe Podcast. Make sure you like our episodes and check it out. And especially check out the last one we did with Robert. Bill did some good editing, and that one turned out really well. Thanks to our senior producer, Robert Anthony. Thanks again, Dr. Bill.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.